Hello, Substack. Welcome to this voice note that I'm sharing with you. I hope you're all excited for what to come for August. We're in the dog days of summer. It is hot here in Tampa. I'm actually going to Puerto Rico at the end of the month. And I don't know if you've heard, but there's a water crisis. Yes, there's a drought, but there's also the lack of maintenance and the corruption. And the water crisis is not just this drought. It's been an ongoing issue for the past couple of years. It's really tough to watch the island just deteriorates more and more, and not a lot of research has been put together, but there's a lot of Americans moving to the island and really displacing local Puerto Ricans. So that's just the stuff. My birthday was August 6th. A couple of days ago, I actually had a really good birthday. I took 3 days of PTO and I actually did absolutely nothing. I did stuff, but I did not work as one does. I've been a high producer, high achiever. There's a reason why I produce about 1,000 podcast episodes is because I work all the time. And unfortunately, I burned out. I am in a season of burnout, not just in the podcast, not just in my personal life, but in my professional life. I do have a job. I work as an investigator at a local healthcare company in New York City. And I love my job, but it's a lot of work. And it just got to a point where I was like, I need to take some time off. And I've been taking some time off this summer because it's just getting, not terrible, but it's just getting really hard. I also have a personal issues that I'm just working through. So it's just been going on. But I wanted to share a couple of things that I did that might be, you might elaborate, you might take them for your personal life or as a real life. One of the things I've been doing here in Tampa is try to make friends locally, try to connect with other people. And one of the places I've been finding friends was my local yoga studio. And what I realized is I've been to this yoga studio since 2024. But for the first year, I didn't make friends. And I was dependent upon my friend who was much more an extrovert, talking to people. And then I realized, wait, why don't I just go be nice to other people and smile and say, hi, how's it going? What class are you taking? Are you new to the studio? And then like bloom it, plant the seed and bloom it. And I've made so many friends this way, all walks of life. I've jokingly made friends with the moms, the Gen Xer moms and their daughters. Like, this is a true story. I connect with both generations as a good millennial. I made friends who people who are retired, who are just like, this is their practice, they like their life. I've been inspired to be like a slower pace of living. And it's so great. So one of my friends is a young college student. They're a little bit older. They're not as the prime college student age. They were my yoga instructor. And I was like, I was giving them books. I was like, I get all these books. I need to give them books. So I give people books. And they were like, would you be interested in doing a reading day? And I was like, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. So essentially what we do is we each pick, because we live in different neighborhoods, we each pick one coffee shop. We meet once a month and we chit chat and talk about our life, what's going on. And then we set up a sprint for 30 minutes where we just read or study in their case. And it's a lovely time because we're reading very different things. My friend reads fantasy, high fantasy, like just literary fantasy, gothic, dark gothic, academia. Those books I typically don't read. I do give them those books, but I read whatever it is. I was reading this week Dungeon Crawl Carl. So it's just fun. So I really enjoy this practice, and I actually share with my friend Francesca. I was like, hey, we should do this. We both live in opposite coast in Tampa. And I was like, we could just pick a coffee shop, just go for a silent reading date and chit chat and grab and talk about it. So she's game for it. So I really want to encourage you, if you don't feel comfortable in just silent book club meeting, which is too large for too many people, pick one friend who is a reader and say, let's just pick a fun coffee shop that you can have a fun coffee drink for once in a while. And you just read. How fun is that? I do have some books to talk about. One of the things I want to talk about some books is that I actually stopped tracking my books. So I don't know how many you read in June or July. I think I'm going to go back to backtrack the ones that I remember, but I read a few. I saw a few. I didn't have quite a few, but there were two books that I really are memorable enough that I really need to talk about. The first one is Murder Bites by Mimi Montgomery. Okay. So the sad is, this is a small town, I think North Carolina, South Carolina, one of the Carolinas. And this family comes from like DC, and she is a very, very, what do you consider a left wing person? Like recycle and protest and very mad about the world and mad about the Southern lifestyle that she's in. I feel her pain. I feel it because I live in mother country. But this town is obsessed with dogs, like designer dogs. And there is actually a TV show, reality TV show about the designer dogs coming, and all the queen bees are participating. And our Margot is like the first scene, she's like protesting designer dogs and it's like stopping them filming. It turns out that one of the major dog trainers or dog walkers is killed. And they think it's Margot because she was actually doing some stuff that was like putting it. And so Margot and her neighbor, who is the head of the HOA, who's retired, and one of the former queen bees come together and try to solve this murder. It is delightful. It is Desperate Housewives. It is the best in show. It is just so good. And the killer, it's going to shock you. And I'm not saying lightly. I read cozy mysteries for a living. Like, this is what I consume. I'm never shocked by the killer, but this one, I was shocked. I was like, holy shit. So this book is a must read. It's Murder Vibes by Mimi Montgomery. It came out recently. Put it on your library vault. I did the audio thanks to PRH Audio. It is the right book to read. And then the next book that I really enjoy, then I started, like, because I was in the same mood, similar mood of like millennial mysteries. What a millennial mystery is not as cozy as a cozy mystery, but it's a mystery, but it's not too gory as a thriller. So there's a little bit of humor, there's a little bit of like quirky characters, but it's a little bit, it's said they might be set in a bigger city or might be set in like some contemporary topics. So the next one is Don't Cross Mo Ellery by Brody Hart. Okay, so this one is an interesting setup. She's in her 20s, which is like not my typical sleuth. She gets caught up like having sex with her boyfriend, living boyfriend, and she joins the Zoom like half naked, and he's naked, and she gets fired. So and then it turns out that the boyfriend decided to break up with her. She's like, oh, great. So she loses her home, she loses everything. So she has to go back to her parents' house. Her best friend is in a poly couple situation. And so she ended up like she knew she wanted to be with her parents. So she gets a job as a crossing guard at a local school in Chicago. It's like a suburban neighborhood of Chicago. And as a crossing guard, she sees that someone gets like this guy who always like his nemesis dies and thinks it's not really an accident. It looks like a car accident, but it's not really an accident. And he has 3 poodles that the local neighbor was like, hey, you need to take care of the poodles. We need to investigate the situation. So she's stuck with 3 show dog poodles, like again, best in show situation. And she has to resolve this murder. And there's like mafia, there's construction, there's actually the person you don't think is a murderer. It is delightful. It's fun. I ended up starting at 9:00 that one night, and then finished up 9:00 in the morning the next morning. And I did sleep, but it was not a quick, but it felt really quick to read. So those are the 2 books I do recommend. I'm also reading Dungeon Crow Carl. I am attached to these people, and I'm like, I know you're gonna die, and I'm really attached. So I have to really pace myself with it, but I did cancel Kindle Limited. So I may just buy Dungeon Crow Carl as an ebook so I can finish it off. And yes, I canceled Kindle Limited because I'm not using it enough to justify. So I'll probably come back to it with a better deal probably in November when there's like the Black Friday deal. But if you have any suggestions of books I should buy, I'm happy to buy some books. Yeah. So that's it for this voice note. Bye.